It's all covered in today's China Truths.
There are 3 college graduates in my family who are unemployed. I'm job hunting in Tianjin. My sister is searching in Zhengzhou. My brother is trying his luck back in our hometown. I worked in Beijing for 5 years before moving to Tianjin. Last year, I took the postgraduate entrance exam and relocated here. I've been job hunting since February, and still, nothing. My sister had 3 years of work experience in Beijing, yet even after 2.5 months in Zhengzhou, she's found nothing. My brother worked in Hangzhou for 2 years, and now he's struggling to find a job in Zhengzhou. In truth, he's applying all over the country, but nothing fits. So, where did that 5% national unemployment rate come from? In our family alone, nearly everyone is out of work. As the US-China tariff war intensifies, China's economy is facing unprecedented turmoil. Factories are closing down, workers are being laid off, and consumption is grinding to a halt. For many ordinary families, life has become unbearably difficult. A woman sits alone in silence, saying she has been in the same spot for hours, unable to move, unable to think. Her husband has lost all income and still asks her for money. She's trying to learn a new skill, but without income, with 2 children's tuition, food, and clothing to cover, and mounting family expenses, she feels like she's on the verge of collapse. Every day feels harder than the last, she says. I don't know what to do anymore. Another man, recently laid off, says he didn't have the courage to go outside for a whole month. This is my first time using Douyin to share my feelings, he says. I wake up in anxiety every morning. I tried to start a street stall, but it failed. I worked so hard for years, and they laid me off without warning. Just like that. I still feel crushed. I really don't know what to do anymore. In Huizhou, factories that were once filled with workers now stand in eerie silence. One boss, who had run a toy factory for 15 years, drove a friend to the site at 3 a.m. Only security guards remained, playing Candy Crush in the dark. Orders have plummeted by 60%, and thousands of factory owners are barely hanging on. One man who manufactures power banks said his warehouse is packed with unsold goods, deeper than the West Lake, and profits thinner than A4 paper. Some calculate that selling 100,000 phone cases barely earns enough to buy a single pack of cigarettes for the bank manager. Netizens report that many bosses are using their real estate as collateral just to stay afloat. Others stay up late at night guarding cold machines, wiping them down in silence, knowing the court will seal the factory tomorrow. The most terrifying part is the 3-way debt chain. Creditors surround production lines like snakes, and banks pull loans without mercy. Yesterday, they called you little sweetie, and today they shred your credit without hesitation. Many factories have shut down. Even if workers find jobs, they can't make ends meet on 4 days on, 3 days off, and a monthly wage of only 2,000 or 3,000 yuan. After 3 years of lockdown and now a trade war, exports have plunged, orders have disappeared, and bosses have fled, leaving wages unpaid and workers stranded. Some companies have subcontracted layer by layer, denying responsibility. It's over, said one worker. The boss is gone and no one's answering anymore. Foreign trade companies are now at a breaking point. U.S. President Trump said he's seeking a fair agreement, while his Treasury Secretary even likened the current situation to a U.S.-China trade embargo. Coastal cities are seeing a wave of factory shutdowns. In Shenzhen, many factories are quietly dying. Rents are high, foreign orders are low, and overcapacity is rampant. Tariffs have soared again, and price wars have wiped out profits. Factories are moving to Southeast Asia, leaving behind older workers born in the 70s and 80s. Do you think Shenzhen's factories still have a future? One worker asks bitterly. Recently, even a state-owned company, Xi'an Standard Industrial Co. Ltd., reported its 4th consecutive year of losses, with its sewing machine business shrinking rapidly. In a country once known for being the world's factory, more and more people now wander the streets with resumes in hand, searching desperately for any job, but finding only silence. In addition, another long-established enterprise with a state-owned background, Shanghai Shenbei Group, has not been spared, and its losses have continued to grow, highlighting the severe challenges faced by the entire industry. Chen Shuting, a well-known financial journalist, recently published an article pointing out that although China's dependence on exports to the United States appears to have declined, in reality, The trend of re-exporting goods through third countries is becoming increasingly obvious, masking the true level of risk. She warned that in major foreign trade hubs such as the Yangtze River Delta and the Pearl River Delta, a large number of export-oriented enterprises have already ceased operations. Many business owners remain in a wait-and-see mode, but if the United States maintains its high tariff policy, a wave of closures in the export manufacturing sector is expected to begin as early as June. At that point, factory shutdowns will inevitably lead to mass unemployment, and the loss of foreign orders could deliver a permanent blow to these enterprises. Observers have also noted that reduced income, shrinking consumption capacity, and weakening domestic demand, driven by widespread factory closures, have further deteriorated China's economic environment. Young people are increasingly trapped in fierce involution competition, and even those with higher education cannot escape the reality of unemployment. A liberal arts graduate from the class of 2025 shared her experience. From the fall recruitment season last year through this year's spring hiring period, she still has not secured a job by April, despite submitting over 8,000 resumes and attending nearly every job fair. "Maybe people think I'm a bit too old," she said, "and perhaps liberal arts majors really have a hard time finding jobs. I don't know if it's the job market or just me." During her postgraduate studies, she had worked tirelessly, winning numerous awards, including national scholarships and honors in scientific research and design. She even participated in provincial-level projects alongside her supervisor. Yet, after graduation, she hit walls everywhere she turned. "My parents have given me everything all these years," she said, her voice trembling. "But I haven't produced anything to show for it. I don't even have the courage to call them now." She has tried to apply for nearly every type of job, but continues to face rejection. Her anxiety has become so severe that she can't sleep at night, forcing herself to stay busy just to keep going. "When I think about the future," she said, "I feel like maybe my life has already failed." Some analysts warn that 2025 may see the worst wave of unemployment in China's history. Data shows that the employment rate for college graduates this year has dropped below 55%. But worse than not finding a job is the reality that many types of jobs are quietly disappearing. This year's government work report, for the first time, proposed strict control over the size of publicly funded personnel, an unmistakable signal of contraction. At the same time, with technological advances, AI can now generate hundreds of contracts overnight, rendering traditional paralegal roles obsolete. Bank front desk services are rapidly becoming virtual, and manufacturing workers are being laid off on a large scale. Even the once stable iron rice bowl jobs for white-collar workers are no longer secure. Many netizens are now warning others, "Do not resign lightly. It's truly hard to find work this year." If you're considering quitting or planning to, be sure to have a backup plan and be prepared for a seamless transition. Every year, people say it's hard to find a job, but only those still searching now understand that this year's job market is truly rotten. A netizen shared that after graduating in 2012, she had changed jobs 3 times and always found a new position within a week, even during half-year breaks. But since she started job hunting in February this year, the situation has been dire. Despite having 2 years of experience, she found that salary expectations were unrealistic. After checking hundreds of companies and interviewing with several, she realized offers were lower than even her first job after graduation. Although the Chinese Communist Party is rolling out stimulus measures, the job market remains bleak. On social platform X, people express deep anxiety. Some claim unemployment may have exceeded 300 million. Many are laid off, forced to quit, or drowning in debt due to low wages. One 33-year-old man said he owed over 5 million yuan and couldn't go on. He detailed how his salary barely covers minimum repayments, and now he's afraid of loan defaults. The pressure, he said, is unbearable. Data from recent years also show a link between economic decline and rising crime. One study found that every $1,000 drop in export growth is associated with 143 new criminal cases in local areas. Young migrant workers, once unemployed, become unstable elements. The worst-hit regions include Beijing, Shanghai, Jiangsu, and Guangdong, while some central and western cities still appear stable. But analysts warn that the full impact of the downturn tends to erupt later. The collapse of this industry in China is worse than that of real estate. Sun Rihu of Apollo.com reported that the piano was once the favorite aristocratic toy of the middle class. According to a business magazine, 7,000 piano stores closed in first and second tier cities last year. In 2024, the piano industry experienced a utopian collapse, and this industry is even worse than real estate. This is a clear sign that China's middle class is shrinking, and even the middle class is struggling to cope with the economic downturn and has run out of money. The net profit of the leading piano company Pearl River Piano plummeted by 90% in the first 3 quarters, and Helen Piano lost nearly 100 million yuan in a year. You know, the piano was once the pride of China's industrial economy. Pearl River Piano alone monopolized more than 1/4 of the global piano market. Nowadays, the Noble Yamaha, which is priced at 68,000 yuan, can't even sell for 5,000 yuan on Xianyu. The parents even smiled bitterly and said, "The piano occupies 2 square meters. According to the current housing prices in the community, these 2 square meters have depreciated by 150,000 yuan, which is equivalent to paying 20 yuan a day to maintain a pile of scrap metal that takes up space." Some netizens think that it is because the middle class has no money. There is also a piano teacher who claims to have 15 years of teaching experience saying, "The tuition fee has been reduced to 700 yuan a month, and it is still struggling to support." Netizens said, "It really feels like the middle class is getting smaller and smaller now. My family was considered middle class in the first 2 years, but not in the past 2 years. The middle class has been eliminated. Most parents of cows and horses have finally realized that even if their children learn piano, they will at most be cows and horses who can play the piano. It is better to feed their children better with that money." Shipping giant. 30% of China's shipments to the United States have been canceled. Global shipping giant Hapag-Lloyd said that due to the Sino-US trade conflict, 30% of the company's customers' shipments from China to the United States have been canceled. A spokesman for Hapag-Lloyd, a container shipping group headquartered in Germany, told Reuters on April 23 that 30% of the company's customers' shipments from China to the United States have been canceled, while demand for goods from Thailand, Cambodia, and Vietnam has increased significantly. Because the Chinese Communist Party refuses to give up its unfair trade practices, U.S. President Trump has currently imposed a 145% tariff on Chinese goods, and the Chinese Communist Party retaliates by imposing a 125% tariff on American goods. Hapag-Lloyd told the Washington Post that customers began to cancel orders on a large scale after Trump announced the global reciprocal tariff policy on April 2nd. Mr. Jian, a container freight driver at Shenzhen Terminal, said the high tariff doubled the product price, making it unsellable. As a result, many goods were withdrawn from export, causing a significant impact on foreign trade, as the U.S. is no longer importing China's goods. American economist David J. Wong explained that the cancellation of many shipments from China to the U.S. reflects the growing uncertainty of American companies, unwilling to take risks with future bookings. This marks a long-term weakening of Sino-U.S. trade. David J. Wong added that the 30% order cancellation signals a sharp drop in demand, likely due to rising tariffs, weaker consumer demand, or the risk of a trade war. This decoupling of U.S. dependence on China indicates a shift in the economic and import structure, further widening the trust gap between the two countries. According to multiple media reports, since the implementation of the reciprocal tariff policy, a large number of cargo ships and cargo flights on the China-U.S. route have been canceled, and many exporters have suspended shipments. The busy export scene at Shanghai port came to an abrupt end in just a few days. Mr. Qian, a Guangdong export businessman who was on a business trip in Shanghai at the time, told Radio Free Asia on April 11th that Guangdong Yantian port also saw a similar situation as Shanghai port, with containers piled up like mountains and very few container ships going out to sea. According to Hong Kong's Ming Pao, people engaged in China-U.S. shipping and logistics business revealed that on April 10th, the booking volume of container ships departing from multiple ports in northern and southern China to the United States fell by more than half. Mr. Li, who works at a dye factory in Shenzhen, said many exporters at Yantian Port now have few orders. Containers filled with goods bound for the U.S. are piling up as American buyers have asked to suspend shipments. David J. Wong said that the current overall consumption in the United States accounts for more than 45% of China's exports. The large number of goods that China originally exported could not be sold, which would lead to the deterioration of cash flow, huge storage pressure, and more serious overcapacity. Small and medium-sized private enterprises would be the first to be hit. David J. Wong said large firms may gain from subsidies, but small and medium exporters will face layoffs and closures. Coastal regions will suffer strained finances, falling tax revenues, and supply chain disruptions, pressuring the RMB, cutting foreign exchange earnings, and fueling capital flight, further weakening the currency and investment market. The Canton Fair, opening on April 15th in Guangzhou, reflects the impact of U.S. tariff policies. Many Chinese exporters are facing a life-and-death situation. One business owner noted that 60 to 70% of their sales come from American clients, but tariffs have caused delays in shipments and payments. Mr. Li observed that while the fair is open, the transaction volume is very low. Wang Xin, president of the Shenzhen Cross-Border E-Commerce Association, warned that high tariffs make it difficult for Chinese sellers to survive in the U.S. market, potentially causing a surge in unemployment.
Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. We will keep reporting on the COVID surge in China, so don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell to get the latest videos. And thank you for tuning in.